If you've built a forceful glass ceiling around yourself, it was probably painful because you're using so much force to build it. And so in order to dismantle it, it's also going to be painful. The biggest leap forward that's an actionable step is like, stop building the glass ceiling. So like, as hard as that is, it's like, put your business on pause, or put whatever it is that you're building that you don't think is right for you on pause, and step away from it for like 3 months.
Arlin, welcome to the Wealthy Mind podcast. I think you're the 4th guest.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm honored.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for the hoodie. If you don't know, Arlin just launched this, the 8 a.m. special. He's reviving 8 a.m. And it's one of the reasons, I really admired you in college. Like, I think a lot of my followers already know, but for those of you who don't, I got into this space making YouTube videos because of you. And when I was in college, I was very dissatisfied with the status quo. I was destined to the 9-to-5 path. I was supposed to do like a boring old engineering job, and I didn't resonate with it at all. But then at the time I had 2 friends, you and Raphael. And you guys were 19, 20, traveling the world, making 10K a month. And when you're 19, 20, making 10K a month, you're a millionaire. And I was like, damn, I want to do that. And so you were doing merch, he was doing drop shipping, but you both had a YouTube channel. So I was like, maybe there's something there. Maybe I need to start a YouTube channel, but I had no idea how to monetize it. So thanks to your help, I was able to get on YouTube.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. You guys are welcome for Quasi and inspiring him and being the cause of all of his success. How did we meet?
We met in a religion class in college. We went to the same university, Boston University, and we were in the same, I don't know, RE something class.
Was it Prothero?
Prothero.
Yeah, it was Death and Immortality.
Yep, that's the one.
And we bonded in that class? I don't remember being in that class with you.
Yeah, you were. You were sitting up front, and I was like kind of in the middle or the back.
Yeah. I was like, the religion philosophy classes in college, I was like super into.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't minor, but I had a concentration in philosophy and religion.
Yeah.
And that was my obsession.
Yeah.
So yeah, we bonded over that. I thought that we bonded over something else.
No, well, we were both into dating and pickup.
Yeah.
And we were in like a similar group, and that's how we met.
So we met through the religion thing.
But we didn't know that we were in the same religion class.
How did we find out that we were both into the dating and pickup thing, which was very...
I
hate admitting that, by the way.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm like, that it is who I am. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I learned my into, like, I'm so grateful for it because that was my into the personal development world.
Right.
Because when I got into pickup and dating, I was first introduced to Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. That's the first, I think, official spiritual book really that I read. Like I immediately, when you read something, you're like, this is it. Yeah. Something beyond life, beyond physical reality. Like I found so much hope in that kind of stuff.
And full circle, I just got back from Eckhart Tolle 4-day retreat.
But
I had the same exact experience with you. I had my awakening when I was around 18.
Yeah.
Where I had exactly as Eckhart Tolle described it. But this was before I read Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
I remember sitting at my kitchen table in my parents' house, just about to graduate high school. The past 4 years mentally had been hell because I was just stuck in repetitive thinking, negative thinking patterns, compulsive thinking patterns.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there at my parents' kitchen table like, what if I just stop thinking? And then I was like, well, let me see what happens.
You could just do that? You can just stop thinking like that?
Well, it did. It just happened. I just asked myself the question, and because I asked it, I never thought about it before. Because I was like, well, everything's just a continuous stream of thinking. And I was like, maybe if I just stopped, it would all be gone. And then I was like, I did it. And I was scared initially. And it wasn't until a year later I read Eckhart Tolle. My first year in the exploration of life, of realizing my own existence on the planet and awareness of my own self and awareness of my awareness was spent in atheism and Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens. And I clung to that because it was logical.
Yeah.
And I clung to Ayn Rand, who was also basically atheist and logical.
Yeah.
And then I read Eckhart Tolle, and I was in all these religion classes.
Why did you take all these religion classes if you were so atheist?
Because I loved debating. I loved learning the arguments.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is so stupid. These people believe this thing.
Yeah.
And then I would debate like Kent Mackin, who's Christian.
Yeah. That's interesting. You're debating like proper Christians, like with your atheist viewpoints.
Yes.
And you're really good friends with Kent.
Yeah.
Like you guys are really good friends. It's so crazy though now, like if you're trying to debate someone and you have opposing viewpoints, it's like, we can never be friends. How are you friends with someone with such opposing viewpoints is my question.
I think it just comes down to what's funny about it is like it actually points to the real truth.
Yeah.
Which is like the real truth is that all religions are pointing toward the same truth.
Right.
Which is what Eckhart said.
Just saying
and the
it in a
reason
different
that
way.
an atheist and a Christian can love each other and still have completely different logical views about what the religions are saying shows that the truth is underneath the words that are coming out of our mouth in different syllables.
Yeah.
And our voice box is going.
Isn't that funny? We're just making noises.
Yeah.
And we're comprehending each other.
Mm-hmm.
But like more than not, we weren't communicating like that.
Mm-hmm.
We were communicating completely sub-communications.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for most of humanity, humanity's been around for 300,000 years, or I don't even know the math, like Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
For most of it, apparently, it's just been just sub-communication. Language is a very modern thing. Writing is a very modern invention. Papyrus. They used to do it in tablets, but then they started to store information in papyrus. Yeah, anyway, going back to meeting each other, being inspired. This whole podcast is called The Wealthy Mind, where I bring on guests and we investigate, like, how did you cultivate a wealthy mind?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always been obsessed with that, like the laws of success, and in particular, how it relates to entrepreneurship, making money. Because I believe that, like my company, realitycreator.com, we work with entrepreneurs and business owners because I truly believe that entrepreneurs are the future, but also if you want to become a reality creator, you have to become an entrepreneur of sorts, Like everyone is, to a certain extent, a reality creator, but the ultimate reality creator is when you are responsible for your income.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other way, you don't have a job to rely on, like a security of a false sense of security of a job, which will probably lay you off at some point. Yeah, like you don't have anything to rely on. You are solely responsible. How do you went from this kid, over 100,000 YouTube subscribers, when you came to college. You're like one of the most popular kids on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing all this cool shit. Like you were making merch. I was like, holy shit, how does this guy do this? I used to look at you and I'm like, is this what I need to do? Because I have no idea how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't have a creative bone in my fucking body.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't make merch like he does. I can't do these launches like he does. How am I? It's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So when someone's getting started in entrepreneurship, it's like I'm sure you felt the same way when you went through like a Sam Ovens course. You're like, fuck, I got to make this course. It's so overwhelming. But then you take it step by step. So how did you get your start into entrepreneurship? Like how at such a young age, like by the time you're 20, you were, you had an established audience. You were making 10 grand a month. Like you're making 6 figures as a 20-year-old. You don't even have a real job.
Yeah.
How does that happen? How did you cultivate a wealthy mind?
Well, I think the main theme that will carry throughout this podcast, but kind of go layer by layer, that I believe is the answer is, and that's most prominent in my mind, in my wealthy mind right now, is the act of surrender. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, as you get older, you realize that what you thought was true back then wasn't actually true. It was when you were going through it, but when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's not actually what was happening. What was happening was this. So the whole time, I can tell you now, it was all just surrender. And none of it had anything to do with me. Like, it wasn't me being special. Because if we're being honest, like, how did Arlin create that, I look at it at that time then now, and I'm still confused about how I did that. Like 100,000 subscribers in the first year, which back then was kind of a big deal.
Dude, it's unheard of.
Yeah, that
even now, like,
I mean, I feel like today, to compare, that would be like getting like 2 million TikTok followers in like 4 days.
But I feel like
you know,
I feel like it seems like that now because of the circles we hang out in.
Yeah.
Right. Like from our reference experience right now, who we hang out with.
Right.
So it's completely different, right?
But we didn't have any of these friends.
Yeah. We didn't have that.
So how did it happen? Yeah.
Because I think it's even harder when you don't have friends like that, but you still manage to somehow do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way it happened was that it all starts from stuff that I didn't control, which is why it's surrender.
Yeah.
So like my mom is a painter and my dad's a photographer. I had a camera in my hands from when I was 2 years old. There's videos of me playing with a camera at 2, and I was making videos at like 6. Yeah. My dad got like one of the first Mac computers. I was video editing on snowboard trips with my friends.
Wow.
And I was making videos in high school, like for girls. And so I was always making videos my whole life.
Yeah.
So there's 20 years of, like before college, there's basically 16 years of video making experience. And art, and you asked about the merch, like the 8 a.m. business, which is now my business, but it was also my first business.
Yeah.
I grew up with, the only books in the house were art books. The only books were Rembrandt, Caravaggio, Cezanne, Van Gogh, and then my mom has an art studio in the garage, and my dad in the basement. The whole basement is a photo studio. So did I control that? No, I popped into the earth, and that's where I ended up. So I didn't. That's just what my life was.
That's so interesting.
So then I got to college, and my grandfather was entrepreneurial. He was a real estate businessman, entrepreneur, and he was the only reason I was able to even go to Boston University because my parents weren't making enough money. They were. I mean, in my eyes, they
starving artist kind of thing.
Starving artist, but honestly, full soul. Maybe the bank, because the wealthy mind, I believe, the wealthiest mind is a wealthy soul, not necessarily a wealthy bank account.
Right.
Because don't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. You don't want to be rich but empty. And I'll get to that because I've experienced that recently.
One of the very first experiences that I remember you talking about was how you helped this guy who was struggling with a lot of anxiety because he would watch the news and he was very, very wealthy. Do you remember that? You told me this back in the day. You helped this older gentleman with anxiety. You probably don't remember, but I remember.
In college, I helped?
In college, yeah. You were telling me it was some friend's dad or something.
Was it my dad?
No, it wasn't your dad.
Because I did help my dad with that.
No, but I think this guy was a lawyer or something, or he was in some corporate job, or he was
really?
very, very successful, very well off, but he struggled with a lot of anxiety because. And then you taught him meditation.
Yeah.
And then he just he was wow, Arlin, you completely changed my life.
I don't remember that.
I mean, you probably affected a lot of lives to remember any of that now.
Yeah, well, okay, so I got to college, and my grandfather was this entrepreneur, real estate.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do business because I thought that, I wanted to make money.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I got into the film school, obviously, because that was just easy for me.
Yeah.
But then I immediately transferred to the business school because I thought that doing business school would make me rich.
Right.
Which is really just funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Now it is. But
because you get taught by people who've never done business.
Yeah, exactly. So I was doing accounting classes and finance classes, but then I watched The Social Network. That was a huge turning point in my life. It really was. And I saw Zuckerberg. The thing that I saw that I resonated with from that movie was when he was building the relationship status button. And he was in class, and he was bored out of his mind in class, and I related to that. And then his friend came in and was like, "Hey, Mark, do you know if Sarah's single?" Mark's like, "People don't walk around with a sign on their back that says if they're in a..." And then he gets the idea for the relationship status.
Yeah.
And he sprints out of the classroom, and he runs home and starts working. And he's just working on this project. And that's what I was after. I was after this. I'm obsessed with something so much that I'll stop whatever I'm doing and I'll want to do that.
Yeah.
The inspiration.
Yeah.
And you're building something massive. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but that's what I want to do. So my first thought was I'm going to code. I'm going to teach myself to code like Mark Zuckerberg.
Right. Duh. You just follow the exact path that you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started teaching myself how to code. Didn't work.
So boring.
Boring. I was watching YouTube Code with Chris videos.
Dude, I tried doing that stuff too. I didn't try to get it.
Didn't hit.
Yeah.
Then I found Tai Lopez, and I started trying to do internet marketing.
Yeah.
social media marketing management agency. I tried to start a drop shipping store called Boat Essentials, where I had Alibaba products, and it was like everything you would need on a boat. And I had a job as a caddy at a golf course, and I used all my money to buy a course. And my mom found out, and then she froze my bank account.
No way.
Yeah, when I was 18. Yeah, I bought a course.
But you're 18.
Yeah, but we had joint bank account at that time.
Oh, yeah, I remember having that with my dad or something, and he would watch my finances.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And be like, why are you doing? I'll buy whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, yeah.
I was buying clothes.
Yeah, exactly. You're just stupid.
Using my allowance to buy.
But no, I was on the right track. I was like, Mom, you don't understand. I'm doing this for you. like I'm gonna learn how to be Ty Lopez.
Yeah.
And then
get in my garage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that exact era. And I was watching all those Ty Lopez videos.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, started watching like Jason Capital videos, like pickup videos.
Oh, damn. That's how you got to pickup? Jason Capital?
Actually, it was called Simple Pickup.
Oh, yeah. Was it the
Indian, Asian,
Indian guys?
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
So them,
it's like if an Asian guy can do it, or Indian guy can do it, I'm brown.
Yeah.
I can do it too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I watched those guys, and then I was getting into, then I like realized, maybe I can like build an app, but I don't code the app. I just had this idea because we were throwing all these parties. I was practicing pickup, meeting all these girls, and throwing parties with my hockey team. I was on the hockey team, the club hockey team.
Yeah.
And we threw parties all the time. And it was basically a frat.
Yeah.
And I was managing the list because I knew all the cute freshman girls. So I had this idea for an app that was like a party management app that was mixed with like, it was basically Partyful. I had the idea for Partyful.
That's insane.
Yeah. And I started trying to build that.
See, the fact that you were thinking about that stuff when you just entered freshman year is just mind-boggling.
Well,
right?
I saw what Zuckerberg did. I was like, I want to get rich. I don't want to be a professor or like get a regular job.
There's a difference between I want to be rich. I want to be
Actually,
rich.
it wasn't even I want to be rich. It was I want to have something I'm obsessed with.
Right.
That's what it was.
But it's like there's a difference between, because I'll tell you where I was and why it's so mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
It's like I get exposed to an idea, I'm like, oh, but that's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't born like Zuckerberg.
I'm suggestible.
I'm like, I don't have the brain, I'm not intelligent like him.
Oh.
I wasn't born with that kind of capability. I'll never be able to do it. Let's just keep it safe and like go for this like safe job. That's how I was thinking. I was like, I don't have a relative or a friend or a connection who's like high enough up who can like, I can nepotism my way into something really great.
Yeah.
I wasn't born into like that kind of circumstance, or I don't have the capability to do it myself. They're all intelligent and born that way. I had to deal with that, like that insecurity for the longest time. So the fact that you went from, I watched this movie, I'm a kid, and I can literally do anything I want. I'm gonna go and do that. What if I made an app called Partyful? I couldn't even fathom doing something. I'm just not capable of doing this. Really? That's where that's where I used to hit a wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It took me a really long time to overcome that.
Really? Wow. Yeah. I don't know why I had that delusion. Because that's just delusion.
It is delusion. But like most successful people have delusions.
Yeah.
That's how they become successful. You have to break through the delusion.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was delusional.
So that's what what the wealthy mind is made of.
Mm-hmm.
Delusion.
There's a little delusion, yeah.
Just like the right amount, the healthy amount of delusion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and often the delusion, the thing is the delusion pushes you in arenas so that you learn things, and you might not succeed, but you learn something. So I had this idea for an app. I got a business partner at a different school who was crazy. This dude, Dan, he went to like RPI or something, and he was in the entrepreneurship program.
Rensselaer.
Yeah, and then I had a kid on my hockey team who could code apps, and he had like an internship with Google. So he started coding the app.
No way.
And me and this guy, Dan, had business meetings every day, like 2-hour business meetings, me and him.
Wow. Wow.
Like, think about how crazy that sounds.
Dude.
Like, two idiots.
You're 19 or 20 now, right?
19, having business meetings every day. What are we talking about? I don't know. I probably have all those notes in my
Google Docs.
Like Google Docs. Like, what were we talking about? But we're like planning this app, and like he was super charismatic too. And I was like, this is my, because Zuck had Edward
Norton.
Norton? No.
Edward Norton?
It's like he had a Spanish last name, like Segundo or something. Edward.
I don't know.
Delgado.
But didn't Edward Norton play the role?
Maybe.
Like the Fight Club guy, right? Wasn't it him?
No.
Am I mixing it up?
No.
No, I'm mixing it up.
You're mixing it up, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Zuckerberg, the guy who invested money into the first investor in Facebook was his like Harvard friend. So I have this app idea. My friend's coding it. And then my roommate, Henry, goes, Arlin, I need you to meet this guy that is in my class. He made like $1 million in high school. And I think you should tell him about your app. And I was like, okay. So I have my first business meeting, like with a real entrepreneur in the dining hall.
Jesus Christ.
And I bring him like my backpack and my papers and everything. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I sit down with Sam Thompson.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah.
I remember Sam.
And
I think he joined our program. No, he joined a program that I referred him to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there with Sam, and Sam looks at me and he's like, this idea is worth $250,000. And I was like, oh my God, I have to protect this at all costs. So he valued my business on the spot.
Wow.
Based off the idea.
That's crazy. You told him about party. Basically, you're making Partyful.
Yeah. And he valued the idea based off nothing. But I was like...
But dude, he made $1 million in high school.
Did he? I don't know. Maybe. Oh. I thought so. Did he? Who knows?
I don't know.
It was all fugazi.
Fugazi!
No one knew what... We didn't know... I didn't know what I was doing. He might... I don't know.
Do we still know what we're doing?
No.
We still don't.
But like, I was just like... That was the state I was in. I was like, I have this $250,000 idea. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we just went to Hormozi's workshop and learned how to actually evaluate a business.
Yeah.
But here I was thinking, like, I went home, I was like, oh, Dan, like, it's $250,000. Like, you know?
Yeah.
And,
wait, so if he said that, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't you immediately think, would you buy it for $250,000?
I did.
Oh, okay. Did you pitch it to him?
I forget. I forget. But I think I thought that I could sell it. Like, I was that stupid. Like, I was so dumb.
That's kind of good, though, no?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Having that kind of delusion.
Yeah.
It helps you,
I love meeting, like, 19-year-old kids that are in those shoes. I'm like, dude, you're so stupid.
Like, but at the same time, it's like you kind of question, you're like, is he just really smart?
No.
Or is he just really stupid?
No. It was
stupid. But, like, what if something... Because sometimes, you know, people are just, like, so... Like, you can just kind of see that, okay, this is so dumb.
Yeah.
But... What if there's a sliver of chance that it's actually not dumb?
Yeah, so I have that situation. I work on the app. Summer hits. During summer, I start watching YouTube. Like, I'd been watching YouTube a long time.
Yeah.
But I started watching vlogs. Started watching Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
I had met Gretchen. And at some point that year, I had overheard, like, end of the year, I overheard her talking about something in the dining hall where she was stressed about paying for her own tuition. And I was like,
what in tarnation?
Yeah, I was like, you're paying $60,000 a year.
What?
By the way, BU's like $94K a year now.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
94?
Yeah, it's something.
It was 50 when I was there.
Yeah.
It was like 25 a quarter. Or 25 a semester.
60 including everything, I think.
Oh, okay. You're talking about room and board.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, including that, it was, yeah. It was like 240 a year, for the whole 4 years. 240K, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Now it's like 400K. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, dude.
What?
Yeah.
Why? That's the biggest scam.
Exactly.
That's literally imagine selling a course for 400K.
Yeah.
It's a $400,000 4-year course.
Yeah.
By the way, you may or may not get a job.
Mm-hmm.
May or may not get a job.
Which may or may not be replaced by AI.
Right. Yeah. And your job will mean nothing. And your experiences will mean nothing.
Yeah. So I overheard her saying, you know, she could afford paying for her own tuition based off YouTube. And I was like, what? So I overheard that. That was a key. And then I started watching these vloggers and getting into it. And I was like, yo, this is entertaining as fuck.
Yeah.
And...
Oh, wait. So you weren't vlogging then?
No, I didn't vlog all freshman year. Freshman year, I was failing at business and growing social skills. Yeah.
I thought you already had an audience when you came into BU.
No. Freshman year, all I did was build social capital.
And write reference experiences.
Of my interactions with people. And
girls.
Yeah. And then I failed at business.
Great time to fail.
That summer, I had an internship with a company that had a Shopify store. This guy who, like, he ran a Shopify store.
Yeah.
they probably made like $300K a year or something. And I was running the Facebook ads, and I was making $15 an hour, but I was learning how to do this, how to run a business. Then I was afraid to start my YouTube channel. I wanted to do it, but I finally overcame it. I did.
What were you afraid of?
What people would think of it.
Who like in particular? Like your friends?
Everybody. Yeah, everyone.
Yeah.
Friends. But I got over it. I started it, and about like 5 or 6 days in, people saw them and they were like, "Oh, this is really cool." And then Gretchen gave me a shout out. I gained 400 subscribers overnight.
Wow.
My first 400.
Why did Gretchen give you a shout out? Were you friends?
Yeah, we were friends, and she saw some of my videos, and she was like, "These are really cool," because they were really cool.
Because you're good at making videos, because you did it as a kid, and you're passionate about it.
Yeah, and I was filming college parties, and it was raw. It was like very real.
Yeah,
and making edits with music in the parties, and then the dining hall the next morning, everyone's hungover, and then you go to class. It was so raw and authentic.
It was the raw college experience.
Yeah.
Like I remember you had some videos that were just like, wow, this is phenomenal. Like the story time.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, and I was in film. Well, I transferred back into film school my second year, so then I started taking storytelling, cinematography, sound design, and I was applying that to the YouTube videos.
Dude.
See what I'm saying? So like I didn't pay for college. My grandfather paid for it.
Yeah.
I didn't teach myself art. My parents taught me art. I grew up with art.
Yeah.
I had some delusion.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just like surrendering, because I didn't actually do that stuff. Like it just was there.
It just happened.
Yeah.
It just right circumstances, right time, and you just simply.
And also early to a trend. There was no college vloggers. There was no TikTok. There was no Instagram.
Yeah.
So Instagram was a photos app still. Some people maybe posted videos if you were like artsy, and I started doing that.
Yeah.
But people like YouTube was like the coolest thing. And so then I was just consistent. Meanwhile, I'm reading Eckhart Tolle and meditating every day. So I had the light of consciousness in me. And so when I was filming, and like it was everything combined, it was like Eckhart Tolle, filming background, all that. And then I knew how to run a Shopify store. I knew how to use Photoshop because my dad taught me. So I made a clothing brand. So I really look at all of that. I'm like, there's no way I could take responsibility for that.
Okay, so what I'm getting from this is there are some things, some circumstances. So, okay, I study a lot of Eastern philosophy. Not philosophy, knowledge, like yogic knowledge.
Yeah.
And in yoga, there's this law, it's called the law of karma, right?
Yeah.
And in karma, there's basically 3 types of karma that we have. There is sanchita karma, which is someone's entire storehouse of karma from all lifetimes that we accumulate. There's parabdha, which is the current allotment of karma that you can handle in this lifetime. And that's why your soul has taken on a physical body, because taking on a physical body is the best way to work out this karma. And there is agami karma, aka the future karma, the karma you accumulate in this lifetime that gets stored in the sanchita to be activated in a future lifetime.
Okay.
So the very reason you took a particular body is because of your karma. In one lifetime, you maybe felt like you wanted to be a creative phenom or become an entrepreneur or something. Therefore, you take on this womb, your soul takes on this womb of your mother and gets born into these circumstances with an entrepreneur grandfather and parents who are artists.
Yeah.
And you combine entrepreneurship and art.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, oh, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
This is my karma. This is just simply like I just surrendered to it. I just surrendered to my destiny.
Yeah.
And it's simply naturally unfolded instead of me being in resistance all the time and trying to force something to happen. You cannot resist your destiny.
Yes.
You cannot resist your destiny.
The more I resisted it, the less it worked.
Yeah.
So, but in that second year, when you started seeing me really grow, actually, it was my junior year where it really grew. Like, because my sophomore year is when I started.
Yeah.
I got to maybe 5,000 subscribers by the end, and I had some videos blow up.
Yeah.
But then the summer, when I got home on Cape Cod, and I was making videos every day in the summer, I came back with 80, 90,000 subscribers. So I was like, when I came back junior year, that's when I was like a big deal, sort of.
Right.
It's so funny, and I if you say 90,000 subscribers now, it doesn't sound like a big deal at all.
Yeah.
But back then, that's like 9 million. Like that's like, you are a celebrity.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. So, okay. So I came back. I was like borderline a celebrity. Simultaneously though, I was doing, this is another thing I want to talk about. There's 2 awakenings, I think.
Yeah.
And I just learned this from Eckhart Tolle. But it's so hard. The first one is when you first realize your own consciousness and you start getting into self-development. Mm-hmm. You're probably into a lot of even like Think and Grow Rich. And you're like, I want to manifest this life. Yeah. I want to get rich. I want to get a relationship, women or man, whatever. And you know, you want things of the world. You want to manifest things of the world.
Yep.
And you want fame and you want status. And that's the first awakening. It's like, I can create these things. The second awakening, which is, it took me about 9 years to get to, I feel like I'm there, is when you realize that you were never creating any of it in the first place. And the only reason that you had problems was because you resisted what you were actually just meant to do in the first place. And you tried to create things that weren't meant to be created through you. And so the more that you surrender even what it is that you want to God or to whatever higher power, and you allow those things to come to you or come up through you, in proper surrender, things either boil up inside of you or they actually come to you. It's one of the others, and it happens at the same time. So that's I didn't realize that before. I thought it was like, you can have anything you like. The paradigm I thought I was in was like, Think and Grow Rich. Okay, I can have anything I want.
Yeah.
You can't. You actually can't.
Yeah.
You can only have what is meant for you, as you said, in your karma.
Yeah.
And you have to get present and aware to be attuned to what that is. Otherwise, you force things, which creates resistance.
I agree with that, but I think it's like, it's just like language and interpretation. It's like, I truly believe you can have anything that you want, which is what we do, right? We help our clients to get what they want, but you can only have what you truly want.
Yeah, right.
What was truly meant for you.
Of course.
So our clients like always have this question, which is like, hey, is it free will or destiny? But why does it have to be one or the other? Mm-hmm. Why not both?
Yeah.
Why not free will within the context of destiny? Like you are aligning your free will to your destiny.
Yes.
Instead of resisting your destiny.
Right.
That's why when I teach our clients about identity shifting, it's not about you trying to become someone else. It's really about you removing the false ideas that you had about yourself and becoming more and more one with yourself and walking your own unique path that was meant for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. That took me a really long time to realize too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like for you, it's very clear that you owned it and you're not afraid to move on from one thing to the other. A lot of people really hold on. Like I have a tendency to hold on because of egoic needs of like, this is working and it's gotten me this kind of result and that's what I always wanted.
Yep.
Let's keep doing more and more of it. Fuck, why doesn't it keep working? But the time for it has passed.
Right.
It has passed.
Yeah.
Stop forcing it. Stop resisting the natural evolution of your YouTube channel or your personal brand, whatever it may be, even just your life, like even relationships that we're too afraid to leave, when it's time, it's time to move on from this. Yeah. I'm sure you've had that experience with an ex or two, it's just, but then even after you move on, you realize, even that needed to happen for me to learn the lesson so that I can have a more fulfilling relationship next time. Yeah.
I think that the key difference between the first paradigm and the second paradigm, where the second paradigm is way better, I feel it. Like I feel so much better. I felt great back then.
Yeah.
But the more you stick in that paradigm where the first paradigm is, I can literally have whatever I want. What do I choose?
Yeah.
Like I had a clothing thing. It was simply choose whatever reality. Like that was the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
And it's just not true because you can't. Like there's some things it's obvious. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be an NBA player,
Yeah.
Like that's obvious.
But the thing is, like, you don't even want to be an NBA player.
No, I know, but that's the thing. You think
you want it. You don't really want it.
Exactly. You think you might want all of these things, but that's your mind saying, "Oh, it's shiny object syndrome."
It's a shiny. It's ego.
It's ego.
Ego wants those things because it's like, oh, I want to prove them wrong. And I want to have social status and show him I'm a better basketball player than this person.
Right.
But really, like, does this thing, if you were to accomplish it, does it make your life a continual vacation?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what.
I have an exercise I like to do with close friends.
Yeah.
Like you and I would do this.
Yeah.
Although I think we're pretty aligned, so I don't know if it'd be much use right now. But I did it with a friend yesterday. Oh, we'll probably do it in specific pockets.
Yeah.
But if you have a really close friend, you could just ask them like, "What do you think's the obvious thing for me to do?" And your friend will just be like, "Well, you should just do this."
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just do that?
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Really?" Because
do you remember we had this conversation one time
really?
when I was telling you? I was like, dude, what are you doing? You're so good at merch.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally a god at launches of merch and like art and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like we were having this conversation, I think
when?
2021 or something, or 2020.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Something like that, like when you kind of stopped.
And
you were maybe doing tribe and stuff and you kind of felt lost.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, dude, you're so good. You're like, oh, you know, it makes me feel really good when you say that because that's something I actually want to do. But I think I have to do this.
Yeah, right.
I think I have to do something else.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good question to just ask your friend, just be honest. And then you tell them. It's like, yeah, I probably would have, when you were starting YouTube.
Yeah.
I remember very clearly saying like, do the goal card, make videos every day.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
It's like, talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Talk spirituality.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, the surrender thing, the surrender experiment. So basically just fast forwarding through a lot of my life, I started this YouTube channel. I started a clothing brand. The clothing brand was doing 100, 200K a year. And I was happy and I was traveling and I had a lot of friends. And I was, more importantly, my soul was very full. Got into a pretty bad relationship. Ended up finding a lot about myself through that, just like traumas and everything. And that was tough. Then came out of it, ended the relationship, started the clothing again, brought back 8 a.m. again, which was like the soul of it. 8 a.m. was always the soul, which was the name of the clothing brand. And I posted videos every day at 8 a.m. And then I joined my second online course, which was like an online mastermind. And I loved it. It was Brody Kern, Wake Up Wealthy.
Yeah. I
loved it. And I was doing this, I was doing more and more intense clothing drops. I had this strange, this is sticking out to me, this strange grappling with my own identity. I remember being on these calls and Brody was like, dude, you're an artist. And I was like, am I? Like, I don't think I want to be an artist. And I realized that I associated being an artist with being broke. But he's like, well, you could be a rich artist. And that's when I had, my biggest merch drop ever. I think I did like $60,000 in like 5 days or something.
Damn.
Which, at the time that was crazy.
That's probably pretty crazy still now.
Yeah, that's crazy now. Yeah, $60,000 in 5 days is a lot of money. Yeah. And then what happened was I started bubbling up this idea for an app because I had this personal development side of me and I learned about no-code tools, Zapier, and I just pandemic hit. That's partly why I stopped doing merch because I didn't have anything to make videos about. My videos were lifestyle videos. I was traveling and doing things with people, but then I couldn't see people. So I was like, all right, I'll become a tech nerd. And I built Maxi. And then my audience got on Maxi. And that went around the year. And then I started the coaching program, started coaching people. And then I slightly brought back 8 a.m., but it was like, well, who's shipping these? Even you asked me that today when I brought it's like, who's shipping these? It's like, well, that's a whole operation you got to build. Whereas an info product, you don't ship anything.
You don't ship anything.
So I got sidetracked by that because, it makes really good money. And it's fulfilling to help people, of course.
Yeah.
But for sure, the biggest thing, as you said, was like making designs and like making art.
Yeah.
And I stayed on the course path and I ran it hard. I ran it super hard. I built up my team to like 16 people at one point.
Yeah.
I had a like chief of operations. I had 4 or 5 video editors.
Jesus, what was your payroll?
It wasn't, I don't know, it's like 40 grand a month.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. I mean, the short form editors, $1,000 a month each.
Yeah.
You know? And I had all them. I had setters. I had salespeople. Email. I had a copywriter, full-time videographer, and I was just hitting a wall. And I was like, I know the content I have is good. I know it's actually better than everyone else in this space.
Yeah.
And yet I'm hitting a ceiling. Like, and it was creative. I know I was like, I'm more creative than it. Like, I'm so creative. Yeah. Why am I not growing anymore? My YouTube channel stopped when I graduated college. And now I'm doing this other course thing and I have money. Like, why am I hitting a wall? And I had Maxi going, and Maxi hit a wall. And I was hitting this invisible wall. I know you talk about this all the time. Hitting the revenue barrier. I hit the revenue
glass
barrier.
Ceiling.
The glass ceiling. And I was really frustrated. Meanwhile, I was traveling the world.
Yeah.
And I was making, I don't know, 100K a month or so.
Yeah.
And I was spending pretty much all of it, on team and on Mykonos and Ibiza.
Oh my God.
And just traveling the world and living in dope places and meeting amazing people. And, I flew out to London with Iman and spent several months with Adam Horowitz and did all over Europe. And I connected with like everyone that I ever wanted to connect with, traveled everywhere that I ever wanted to travel. But it was in November, December of this year that I was like, I don't think I need to travel anymore. I need to just figure out what fills up my soul. Because now I'm hitting this revenue barrier. I don't even really like what I'm doing with Tribe. Like, I sort of liked it. That was the devil,
Yeah.
The
Because
devil.
it's that spot when you have a job. It's like, I don't hate it enough to leave.
Yes, exactly.
But, yeah.
Making 100K a month.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want. But it wasn't God expressing through me like God was expressing through me in college when I was doing 8 a.m. and I was making videos every day like a psychopath. Yeah. Like, it was just, it's weird because it was still, like, most people look at it and be like, oh, that's so cool and entrepreneurial and different. But like, within the confines of what I was doing, it was a glass ceiling and I put myself in a box. So one thing led to another. I fired my whole team. I started from scratch, still trying to figure it all out. I pick up my spiritual books again. Oh, I skipped something. 2023, I started to feel, so I started to feel this in 2023. Yeah. I started this building of the team in 2022 and trying to pass that revenue barrier. And then 2023, I started to feel empty again. Like, it was in the background, but I was like, I'm feeling like this is not quite right. Something's off. And I was like, maybe I'm missing something spiritually. And meanwhile, I've been in this relationship with my girlfriend for a year. I'm like, maybe I'm missing something. I've been doing meditation and Eckhart Tolle and this stuff for a long time, but maybe I'm missing something. So all of 2023, I dedicated to studying Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
I remember messaging you beginning of this year, and you're like, dude, I'm back to God again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, so I literally at one point became a full Christian, born again, revelations coming, Jesus is our savior. If you don't acknowledge that, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Like, I interviewed so many people and friends and like private conversations and people I trust and respect and think are really intellectual.
Yeah.
And I watched all the Jordan Peterson, like everything. And I read the Bible every day and I became a Christian for like 4 days. And, what's funny is like a Christian would listen to this and be like, blasphemy. Oh, the devil got you. And then I went to Israel.
Yeah.
I was with Chloe's family and her girlfriend's Jewish. Went to Israel. I learned from the Jews how they believe, what they believe in. Yeah. And I'm Jewish. And according to Billy Carson, that's like a race. Like, right? Like, I'm a race of, I don't have a choice, Yeah. I mean, it is a race. Judaism, being Jewish is both a religion and a race. It's a people.
Really? It's a race?
It's blood. Yeah.
Interesting. So you can't convert to Judaism.
You can.
But you wouldn't really be the race. You would just be a converted Jew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you mate, then you get the blood. Yeah. Or you create the blood.
You create the blood.
Yeah.
Your son's your son or daughter is a half-blood.
Right.
The half-blood prince.
Right.
A muggle.
Right. So 2023, I'm like exploring now Judaism, and I learned a lot from Judaism.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, I was exploring Islam. And actually, I studied a lot of Islam in college. I took a class on Avicenna.
Oh, you did? Yeah, you told me about that.
Quasi's son's name.
Yeah.
And I learned about that. And at the end of the year, I was just like, and there was a lot of truth I learned out of Judaism and Islam. But at the end of the year, I read some Sam Harris again, Atheism. And I was like, this is none of this. Like, it's so easy to poke holes in any of this if you're unbiased. If you weren't born Christian, if you weren't born into a Muslim faith, or if you weren't born into a Jewish family, it is so ridiculously easy to see the cult-like thinking. And especially if you are building a brand and you understand marketing, you know what these religions are doing. Greatest marketing ever. Yeah. And I mean, even down to like Jesus being a meme, like the controversies in Christianity of like, oh, gay people shouldn't sleep together. Like they knew, like Jesus, whoever baked that in, it's like, this is going to be controversial forever. Yeah. You know, gay people can't sleep together. Like, you know, like, or like the hate or the war, like all of that terrorism, even in Islam, there's jihad terrorists. That is marketing.
But you know, they don't really call it terrorism. Like jihad is like a military struggle. They don't. It's like, but it's a military. There's a lesser jihad and a greater jihad, right?
Well, I'm talking about jihad in the sense of what the West or
the promotion of violence and military, basically. Yeah, that's always been there in I suppose all religion, but in Islamic traditions,
But to the point where Boko Haram, you know, in Nigeria will create a death cult that sacrifices women and children and, you know, puts bombs on kids and stuff. Like that's what I'm talking about, that as jihad terrorism.
Right, but that's not like part of the books or anything, you know? It's just like a misinterpretation of the religion. Like
exactly. But they knew that that was going to happen, which the extremism keeps the conversation. It's like,
I'm just imagining a Family Guy episode where like Muhammad comes down and is like, oh, I didn't think this would happen. You know, it's like
no, but I mean, but all of life is suffering anyway, and like there's so much truth in Jesus. I learned a lot about Jesus. I will say, like Jesus is the truth, like pure. That's for sure. Like I learned that. But I get back, you know, I'm reading Sam Harris again. I'm like, okay, there's a lot wrong here, and then I picked up Autobiography of a Yogi.
I'm reading that right now.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And I had read that in 2018, maybe. Yeah. It was Steve Jobs, the only book that Steve Jobs had on his iPad. When the Beatles loved it.
Didn't they give it out at his funeral too? Yeah.
So I picked that up again and I'm like, wait a second, okay. This is the truth. Like this actually is the truth. And you feel it and you can verify it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I get an apartment in Los Angeles, sign a lease for January. I was reading that in December, sign a lease in January. First week I'm in the apartment, my friend, mutual friend of ours, Milan Ray, comes to visit. We have a workout. We're heading back to my apartment. We pass this temple that's right next to my apartment, walking distance. And he looks at it and he goes, I know that temple. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, that's SRF. I was like, why have I heard of SRF? He's like, that's Yogananda's temple, Self-Realization Fellowship. I was like,
what are the odds?
Are you serious?
Dude, you have way too many synchronicities. You're dialed. Yeah, you're tapped in, bro.
I was just reading that in December. So I start going to the Self-Realization Fellowship every Sunday, going to the monk lectures, and then every Sunday, 6 to 9 p.m., they have a 3-hour meditation with chants. And I start going to those. Yeah. And just getting back to my center. And meanwhile, I still felt like I was hitting the glass ceiling. And I realized that it was partly because I didn't even like what I was doing. I didn't like this Tribe Accelerator brand. I didn't like Maxi I liked, but it wasn't quite right. And I had forgotten 8 a.m., which was like the number one thing.
The heart and the soul of everything. Yeah.
So,
it's kind of like your journey is like a homecoming right now.
Yeah.
It's like returning back to the truth.
Yeah.
You kind of get lost.
Yep.
Then you return back to the truth. Then you might get lost again.
Yeah.
Then you're going to return back to the truth.
Yeah.
It's just a journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And it's
you got to try shit.
Yeah.
That's the human experience.
So the other homecoming was I played piano from 5 to, I had formal lessons every week. I had 3 piano teachers like across time. And I always wanted to make music.
Yeah.
And I always told myself, I'm going to get rich and then I'm going to be a music artist. And around like end of February, I went to one of the monk lectures at the SRF, and they were like, when you want to make a change in life, you don't have to change forever. When you go to the store to try on clothes, you don't just walk in and pick stuff off the rack and buy it. You pick it up, you go to the changing room, you try it on, see if you like it, and then you buy it if you want, or you just walk out and leave.
Even if you buy it, you don't wear it forever.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, all right, I'm going to just not be a coach for the next 30 days.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be a musician.
Right.
And so I woke up, I meditated, I made music for 30 days. And it was like total soul, like rejuvenation. And I did that. And then one thing led to another. A shipment of 8 a.m. clothes showed up at my house that was 5 months late. And I realized that all the businesses fit under the 8 a.m. brand that I was building the past several years. And I could have been building 8 a.m. the whole time. School of 8 a.m., the 8 a.m. app with Maxi as a feature.
Yeah.
The 8 a.m. clothing brand. It all aligns. And then, of course, the music. So
that's so interesting.
I told myself I had to make $20 million before I could do the one thing that I wanted to do the most, which was make music.
Why not now?
Exactly.
Why not now? Why set conditions like this for ourselves?
Yeah.
Because I do that all the time. Like, I can do this once I achieve this. When I get there.
Yeah.
Why not now?
Yeah.
The best time is now. Life is short. But yeah, what I'm getting from your journey is the owning of your true calling, not resisting your true destiny, aligning your will with what was truly meant for you, what you like your heart and mind, having that aligned. But it's okay to stray off the path so that you can realize that this isn't meant for me. Because otherwise you would have always wondered. You might have always wondered like, oh, what if I did this? Or you wouldn't have come back to it with the zest that you have now and the experience and the knowledge that you have now.
Yeah, I have a lot of thirst for it. Yeah.
But it's also like, the mistakes you made and you're not going to think, what if? I've already done that.
Yeah.
I've already made this mistake, so I already know. So it's like everything happens in divine timing, right? And that's where surrender comes in.
Yeah, the surrender aspect of it and how it's taking place in my life right now is really, really interesting. For one, there's very little effort's not the right word, but like effort and planning is what's coming up. The people that I'm now hiring, whereas before I felt like I was exerting so much force and effort to hire and find people and train them.
Yeah.
Now it's like they are just simply popping up into my field of awareness. And it's as if it's just smooth like butter. It's like, oh, I'm doing this thing to push 8 a.m. forward.
Yeah.
There's something I need help with here, this task. This person pops into my life. I run into them in the grocery store. I meet them through a mutual friend. It just becomes suddenly clear that we're meant to be working together in some capacity. And the hiring is just, it's like there's no friction.
Yeah.
It's like this person is now helping with this mission because it was meant to be. Like it was just, there's no force at all.
So let me ask you this. For someone who is at that glass ceiling right now, no matter how much effort they put in, they just keep getting met with resistance, more and more obstacles. How do you, like, what would you say to them to get into this place of effortlessness?
Yeah.
And surrender and ease, where things just, kind of it just happens without your insistence. It's simply happening because this is what was meant to happen. How does one get to that place?
I wish I could say there is a shortcut, but I don't know for sure. Maybe there is.
Yeah.
But what I sense is that if you've built a forceful glass ceiling around yourself, it was probably painful because you're using so much force to build it.
Yeah.
And so in order to dismantle it, it's also going to be painful. The amount of nights I went through where I was stressed out of my mind the past several months, pain in my chest, but I was cleansed, like I was letting go. And like when you hold glass in your hand and you let go of it, it hurts.
Yeah.
If you hold on to it, it hurts, but it's numb.
Yeah.
But if
you're used to the pain.
You're used to the pain. But when you have to go and then like take the pieces out, it hurts a lot.
Yeah.
So your spiritual body has glass in it.
Mm.
And I see so many people now, and this is a whole nother thing. I see so many people, close friends of mine, that have so much glass in their soul. And they're seeing what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And they're like, Arlin, I don't know, dude, so many people are hitting me up.
Yeah.
They see what I'm doing and they're like, I want to be a part of what you're doing. Or like, they're trying to funnel hack me. They're like, yo, where are you getting those hoodies? Like they think they should start a hoodie brand, or they think like they're trying to copy what
that's what this
all of a
industry
sudden
knows,
guys
dude.
are like, all of a sudden guys are like, maybe I should make music. Like, no, that's not it. Like, that's not.
You're not getting it.
Yeah, you're not.
You don't get it. It's not meant for you.
You've gotta You've gotta take the glass out, which is meditation. Honestly, I think the biggest leap forward that's actionable step is like stop building the glass ceiling. So like, as hard as that is, it's like put your business on pause, or put whatever it is that you're building that you don't think is right for you on pause, and step away from it for like 3 months. Because here's the thing, with what I'm doing with 8 a.m., I can't even necessarily like stop building it really.
Yeah.
Because life keeps putting things in front of me for it. Like something is boiling up inside me. I have to create this song, or I have to create that. I have to create this design. Or yesterday I walked in the grocery store and I ran into these guys who, this couple actually, that I've been thinking in my head, I'm like, man, I know I have this like course thing, it's bubbling up, but like I want to be the face of it. Like I want to be Eckhart Tolle, and I want someone else to just do the operations. And I ran into this couple that I hadn't seen in months that does that. And they've been doing this for 15 years. I just ran into them. And
you just know when shit like that happens, when you need it, you just know like there's something here.
So my point is, when you're forcefully building a glass ceiling, if you just let go, if you're really meant to be building that thing, life is going to put stuff in your way.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, here's this person to help you do that. Here's this person to help you do that. Here's this person to help you do that. Here's this. You're going to wake up in the middle of the night with a download of an inspiration of something that you have no choice but to let out of you. Like the amount of times, like I stopped for probably 2 years. I stopped waking up with like night downloads, inspirations. Now it's happening every night. It's like I wake up, or like I just close my eyes and I'm like, I got to do that. Like I gotta write that email, or like I have to message this person. It's like it boils up inside of you.
Yeah.
Versus, I want this thing. I want this vehicle to be successful.
Yeah.
And I have to get that person to help me do it. And I have to go on LinkedIn to hire them. Like it's...
Yeah. It's more mechanical and forced and frictionful.
Yeah. So the first step is metaphorically let go of the glass. And then when you do that, it's probably going to hurt. If you think you're letting go of glass. So if you suspect I have this glass ceiling and you let go, it should actually help you get to the next level, because the right person will come up, or you'll wake up with that night inspiration and you'll find the right person to fit. Like maybe you were just doing too many things in your business, right? And you needed to hire someone. You know,
Yeah.
maybe you are on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're really doing the glass ceiling, at least what happened to me is like everything kind of just crumbled, you know? Like some of the businesses that I was building, you know, they just don't exist, you know? And they're not.
Kind of feels like sunk cost effect.
Yeah. Feels a little like sunk cost, yeah. So that's a big thing. And it's like you really cannot avoid meditation and getting really in tune with the energy body. Mm-hmm. I read a lot of spiritual books. I was reading Yogananda, went to that Eckhart Tolle retreat. I read I have maybe 7 Yogananda books at my house. I'm starting the Bhagavad Gita.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you reading the Ishwaran version? The one with the blue cover? It's really good.
Yeah.
I would recommend that.
Yeah. So in one of the 3-hour meditations at SRF, there's a chant that goes, I will roam and roam with Om. I will sing songs that none have sung. I will be the king of the land through which I roam. And the idea of I will sing songs that none have sung is basically what that means is the focus should be on getting to your essential nature of stillness and touching the bedrock of your being, which is your soul. And when you're there and you're in that space, true creativity emerges, which is the unknown. So the best business is one which hasn't existed before, which comes from nowhere, which comes from the unknown. So if
the all space.
Yeah. So a lot of digital marketing people specifically and entrepreneurs will
monkey see, monkey do.
They try to copy models.
Yeah.
And they'll see what I'm doing and they'll see what you're doing.
Funnel
and they'll go, maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing so many guys, oh, maybe I should make music. Oh, maybe I should do a clothing brand. No. You got to create something that's bubbling up, and it takes work. You got to let go of glass.
Yeah.
You got to sit still and do nothing every day for an hour.
Yeah.
And then things bubble up inside of you, and it probably has something to do with the way that you were raised and the circumstances and karma you found yourself in.
You know, that's why we do what we do. It's one of the fundamental pillars is we figure out what someone wants, why they want it, and who they must become in order to accomplish it or achieve it effortlessly.
Yeah.
Their natural being.
Right.
And then the how and when shows up. What, why, and who equals how and when. Don't concern yourself with the how and when, because that will create more resistance and more doubt. You're going to be like, how should I do this? How should I do this? Because when people think about a goal, they're like, all right, now how do I get it? I want 100,000. Do you really want 100,000? Why do you want it? Have you ever thought about that? Why do you want this money? What would it allow you to do, experience, feel on a daily basis? How would it make your life a continual vacation? No one ever ponders that.
Yeah.
They immediately think of a goal. They're like, you can have anything you want. I want $100,000.
Yeah.
Never even think about why, deep down, why your heart wants it.
Right.
You just think the thought, your mind is convinced that this will solve all my problems. And so you just immediately go like a dog chasing, a bone. So, I guess I'm just thinking about the common man, someone starting off in business.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was starting off, I wanted to, I was just looking at what everyone else was doing. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I tried, looking into affiliate marketing, and I tried, reading that red book with the investing, and try to do Robinhood trading, day trading. I tried all of those.
Yeah.
But I had to do those to know that it wasn't for me. Yeah. I didn't want to be stuck.
Or even to pick up little skills that you now use.
Right.
But you say you didn't want to be stuck.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be I didn't want to be stuck inside in a room day trading and stuff. I wanted to work with people. That's what I'm interested in. And I wanted to facilitate transformation. And I wanted to make content and have a presence and have a following and have an audience and share my message, right? These are the things that I really resonate with. That's my own karma, my own path.
Yeah.
I knew I was sort of destined. It's my destiny to be some
spiritual
sort of
teacher.
Not even spiritual, but some form of a communicator, a teacher, have a public presence and, or an online presence, garner some form of fame. That's my karma,
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
And so that's why I just, now that I realize it, I own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it took me a long time I had to make mistakes and copy people to realize that. So the message that you're saying today is going to be so powerful for so many people, because most people are never able to get out of that copying. Like, what's this person doing? I just need to make $100,000. I just need to make this much money. Oh, if I could just do that, my life would change.
Yeah.
But nothing would change. You would make it and you'd be miserable. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I remember making my first $100,000 month, and I would, like, before I made it, I put it on a pedestal, and I was like, oh man, when I make that, it's the ultimate.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I've really made it big.
Yeah.
I've become rich. I've proven my parents wrong. My friends who fucking like shat on me and, you know, made fun of me for having a YouTube channel, I've proven them wrong. And I remember January 31st of 2020, when I did my first 120K month or 109K, whatever it was. I got off the sales call, closed the deal, put the phone down, went on my board, and I wrote 109K because I was tracking the numbers.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I feel empty. That's it?
Yeah.
That was it? Wow. I mean, it was surreal.
Yeah.
Right? It was surreal, but at the same time, I was like, wow, that was it?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Like, you know, it's like money doesn't change anything. It doesn't, it really doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
sure, you're gonna live a better life, for sure. But it's like that thing, like you have the money, you're making 100,000 a month, but your soul, it doesn't feel full. It's like you're in that job and you're like, yeah, you know, it's good money though.
Yeah.
It's good money though. I hate it, but it's hard to leave because it's good money.
The most poisonous thing is not even job anymore though.
Yeah.
It's you're copying someone's system.
Yeah.
Or you're getting rich with, bro, I fell down the crypto path.
Yeah.
And I was making money with crypto.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, if you just get this coin, you know, it's good money though.
It's not about the money. There's a million so you can only say this after you've made money. I totally agree. It's like there's 1,000,001 different ways to make money. There's so many different ways to make money. There's so many ways to make money. What's the right way for you?
Yeah, that's right.
What's the thing, like, what do you want? You know, like, and so I had a really tough time thinking like that because I was brought up in an immigrant family. And my parents, like my dad was always like stingy with money because it was always scarce, because he was conditioned by his father who lost all of their money, and they would have times when they couldn't put food on the table. Very, very impoverished, right? So he was very, very careful with money. And so he would always tell me stuff like, always cut your coat according to your cloth. You know, those are some of the sayings he would have. And his attitude with money, you know, kind of rubbed off on me. It's like, oh, you know, money is very, very scarce. Like, you know, it's the most precious resource out there, etc. But when you start to get into it and you learn all of the laws of the universe, you know, you start to see that, all right, money is everywhere. They're fucking printing money, for God's sake. They are printing like money like it's nothing. You know, so it's just paper. It's just paper. It's a resource.
Yeah.
And our world is abundant in resources. But what's not abundant are people who are truly, truly fulfilled, who truly have that feeling in their heart or that feeling within themselves. They're like, I would not trade this for anything in the world.
I'd like to make a comment, just noticing the energy of this podcast.
Yeah.
About 15 minutes ago, you said you feel complete.
Yeah.
But this is where the podcast is getting good.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Sometimes that's how it happens.
We've surrendered now.
I think so.
It's like at the beginning, this is a really good metaphor. At the beginning, we were like, oh, we have to get good content for this podcast. And then we felt like we got it, but then that's when the actual good stuff comes.
Yeah.
How do you think that one can balance, this is the question that's coming up for me, one can balance the act of surrendering to what you're really meant to do, which for me manifested as I had to stop doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
I was taking a lot of action, of course, but I did have to stop grinding. So it's like the balance of testing and trying things, because for the common man who hasn't done a lot of entrepreneurial, they got to try a lot.
Yeah.
Balancing trying a lot with doing what you're called to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. So in yoga, they have this saying, there's a balance in I believe it's in the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali, Vairagya and Abhyasa. balancing vairagya and abhyasa, surrender and effort. The true path to success with any path, any yogic path, is you need to put effort in, but at the same time, surrender. Meaning, your effort, what you put in, is your responsibility. The fruits of your labor, you leave that to God. So in a sense, you just focus on the process. And when I got initiated into yoga, like for the very first time, my yoga teacher, my guru or whatever, he told me that don't worry about enlightenment, special powers, or whatever you want to experience. You just do your yoga. When the time is right, when you're ready, when the vessel is prepared, when the time is right, the divine will come and visit.
Yeah.
When the time is right, the divine will come.
Yeah.
You just keep doing, living the path.
Mm-hmm.
So for the common man who's confused, what's the balance between effort and surrender? The only way to find balance, this is what I tell all my clients, is you have to lean over the edge without falling off. You have to always test your limits. You have to put more effort, right? If you're afraid of effort, go ahead and put that effort.
Right.
Burn yourself down to the ground.
Right.
And you'll know what that point is. And if you're someone who has a tough time surrendering and letting go of outcomes, just stop giving a fuck until you get to the point where it's like, oh my God, this is scary.
Yeah.
This is scary.
Yep.
So there's different kinds of people. There's the A-type person who's like I hold on, I have a tough time surrendering. I have a tough time letting go. And then there's the other kind of person who's more like, I don't have a tough time letting go. I don't want to do shit. Like I just don't feel like doing it. I don't care. Which is more, I suppose it's more rare, especially in the entrepreneurial circles. Everyone's just high strung and high effort, So you have to test both ends. And one person sometimes can go on both ends of the pole. But the only way to find balance is when you've experienced two ends of the pole. You've leaned over the edge without falling off. And that's how I think someone can truly find. And you found it that way, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you buy courses from gurus and they're like, they tell you something. They tell you like this is their advice. This is their advice after having gone through all that shit that you haven't even gone through.
Yeah, right.
They have made 10s, 20s, 30 million dollars, and this is what they're advising you now.
Yeah.
This is what you're listening to. That's why I never listen to gurus and what they say. I look at what they did to get here.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And the principle behind what they did.
Right, exactly. Because they went through all the shit that you went through. And I was stuck with that for a long time because I was so hesitant. And I was like, so the kind of personality I have is I'm very stubborn. When I find something that works, I hold on to it for dear life. So it's like, all right, I'm going to scale this one business to $1 million a month or whatever it is, like one product, one business, etc. But really, like what my mentors had been telling me for a long time was, you need to create a low ticket product.
Yeah.
You need to create another product.
Yeah.
Everyone had been telling me. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I think I can do it with this. I think I can do it with this. Like, well, dude, it's not right for your business.
Yeah.
It's not right for your business model and your market that you have. And I didn't listen to them for years, and I was stuck. But then one day I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being stuck. Maybe it's time to change shit up. And we just don't listen. Our environment's always giving us feedback. We just don't listen. But on the other end, some people listen too much. They're very, very suggestible. They just listen to everything and grasp at every single shiny object.
Yeah.
You just have to know where you are right now and what your current demon or weakness is, so that you can balance yourself out. It's like in golf, it's like if someone's path is too inside out, like a pro, they know, okay, this is my tendency. So I'm going to go slightly on the opposite end and try to come a little more over the top.
Right.
But it's the opposite with someone who's more over the top, you come more inside. You just have to, this where self-awareness comes in. So the first pillar we teach our clients is awareness. Getting awareness of yourself, where you are, getting a current inventory and really understanding yourself and activating this inner guardian, where you're always watching and observing the character. I am not the character. This is the character. There is a character. There are thoughts. It's like an outfit. So yeah, long-winded way to answer your question.
Yeah, I think it's a paradox. The way it's manifesting in my life right now is like, I've realized that everything is under the umbrella of this brand, 8 a.m. And for the clothing, it was obvious. And it was an easy surrender. It was like, oh, the clothing showed up at my door. People love the clothing. I have all, you know what else is funny is I have from the last 3 years, I bought this, I had a shipment of this same material, exact fit, exact design 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the past 3 years, I've been filming content wearing it. And I have thousands of photos in this that I haven't even put out, you know?
Damn.
So that was easy. It was obvious.
Yeah.
Surrendered, easy.
Yeah.
The app, okay, it's not the Maxi app, it's the 8 a.m. app. And Maxi is a feature, just like Siri is a feature to the iPhone. But then the other element of what I was doing, which was the course business, keep running up into a wall. And I'm thinking, oh, it's just gonna, when the time is right, the answer will appear. But life isn't, like, I don't think that that's full surrender because I'm being too perfectionist. I actually have resistance in the course space because, for example...
But the answer did appear to you.
The unknown thing?
The time was right, and now you have the answer, right?
Well, the answer, you're right.
So in a way,
you're right. But the answer was that I had to surrender to the way that I'm doing it now is like it's more of a 6 week, an 8 week program.
Yep.
That isn't, I'm not committed. Like it's the try and close on thing. It's like it's the school of unknown. I'm going to do it for 8 weeks. We're going to see how people respond to it. They're going to learn these principles. But I don't have to do it forever, and it might fail, you know?
Yeah.
Like with the other stuff, like the surrender in me was like, oh, this is effortless, and I know it's gonna work. But this is like, it's not as effortless, and I'm not sure if it's gonna work.
Mm.
But they're both the same. And yeah, like you're saying, like not only do some people have to have a different proclivity, like when you join a guru's program, some people are going to be super suggestible, some people are going to be super stubborn. But at the same time, in your own life, even the people who are super stubborn, who join that program and they don't want to do what the guru says, right? They still should do what the guru says. And that's what they have to push past. But at the same time, that same person still should be stubborn. Whereas the other person should fight to be not so suggestible, but at the same time still should be suggestible. Like it's both answers.
It's the balance.
It's the balance, yeah.
You have to have the right
I love
amount
what
of
you
it.
said about peering over the edge so that you don't fall.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to see that with the app and with the clothing. Mm-hmm. That it just came to me. But with the other one, it's like, oh, I have to peer over the edge more because I'm afraid to fall. Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. There's wisdom here.
I think this is a nice place to wrap up. Thank you for joining The Wealthy Mind. And I think we've had a lot of takeaways today. Thank you for sharing your journey, and I'm excited to see where it leads. Where can people find you?
People can find me at 8amhouse.com.
8amhouse.com. That's going to be up on the screen in the description. Yeah, thank you for joining me in Florida, Fort Lauderdale. And we'll probably do another one like this, probably 8 a.m. months from now.
We filmed this at 8 a.m. too.
Somewhere.
Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Thank you.